activity that we did yesterday, so get out the same piece of paper if you guys still have it.
I definitely don't.
I think I have.
If you don't, just take out another scrap. Now again, these notes are for your guys' benefit because you'll have to know these things when you go to write your assignment next week.
Maybe I think I have.
Half.
Yeah.
Can I have the other half?
Oh, never mind. I got my own. Yeah.
That one's fine. It's all good. Okay, so let's go over the groups again. Over here. Kreon, you guys?
I didn't know which one you wanted.
Chorus, and you guys over here? Thyself, and yesterday, what else did you guys read for?
No.
Jocasta. So you can do either character, okay? Now remember, we're doing this write-up right now with a mind towards the assignment. We're going to be starting on Monday, okay? The assignment is going to be, does anybody remember? You have to do Keenan.
One word, a long paragraph.
250 words based on one word.
250 words in one page double space based on one word. You take one word that is important either to your character, to your theme, or to the story in general. You guys have as much range as you want. You take the one word, like this word is very important for developing this theme, okay? And you're going to talk about it. So right now is when you guys want to start thinking about the character, the theme, or the word, or all three that you guys are going to be working with. Okay. So to give you guys a bit of an agenda so you know what to expect. Today we're going to finish the play. Monday we're going to take a look at the assignment. So on Monday what we're going to do is I'm going to actually work through an example with you. Okay? Last night wrote up a quick thesis. I'll develop it with you guys. I'll choose the word. The word that we'll be developing is the word truth. Fair enough. Good one for the play. We're going to write truth on the board, and we're going to go through, at least take you through my thinking process. And lucky for you guys, I actually found the assignment that I did. Remember, this assignment was taken from one that I did in my undergrad. It is unquestionably the worst thing I've ever written. It is embarrassingly bad. And for your benefit, I'm going to bring it, and I'll show you at least where I was when I did this assignment. And I went to U of T for English, so it's possible. You can start from the absolute. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. This is it's laughable. It's like an Onion article how bad this essay I wrote was. So that's what we'll do. Okay, we'll develop one in real time, so you guys know the kind of template you want to work with. We'll look at two good versions of writers, scholars from this book. It's a collection of essays on Oedipus. We'll look at two examples, okay? And we'll look at my embarrassing example from undergrad, and we'll start to think of ideas. So that's Monday, okay? So don't stress about this assignment. We'll go through it all nice and thoroughly. Tuesday, you guys have maths, so there will be no class. Okay, so Tuesday's a day off. However, you guys will want to start thinking about the quotes you'll be using, because this assignment has two parts. It's this 250-word write-up, but it's also a poster that has this word contained in it, okay, in these different quotations you'll be choosing. Then you'll have 2 days to write. You can write on Wednesday, and you can write on Thursday if you need the Thursday. Again, it's one page, 250 words. You can type it up at home. So it's due on Friday. It is due on Friday. I'm aware that there might be people here who are not here on Friday. Get in a hard copy somehow. Everybody can draw straws and see who the unlucky student is who has to take everybody's, and bring it in. Doesn't matter. Hard copy will be due on Friday. If you finish early, if you're able to finish everything on Wednesday, sign off, type it up for Thursday, that's fine too. But hard copy will be due on Friday. So are there any questions about what the next week is going to look like? No? Okay. What's that?
What's the poster again?
So the poster, we'll have a full assignment sheet to hand to you guys, but basically what you'll be doing is you'll choose your word. Okay, my word is justice, for example, let's say. You'll find quotes in your text that have that word in it. You'll put those on a poster to show where you're kind of drawing from. Then you'll just have a 250-word write-up, a one-page write-up, on why you think that word is important.
So I write up on the poster?
No, the write-up will just be one page. The poster will be itself.
So poster just like a vision.
Yeah, just a visual. Basically.
So the poster have to be
How big? I mean, just a regular.
just 8.
Yeah, 8.5 by 10.
11.
Okay.
Like, would we have to put the quotes on the poster?
Yes. So if you choose the word justice, you'll find all like the places in the play where it uses that word, and you'll throw them up on the poster. So that's kind of an introduction. It's like, okay, this word shows up this many times in these
And
circumstances.
when we
when's
put the
it done?
quotes on the poster, would we have to like reference like? page
No.
number?
So on the poster, I mean, you can say who the person is that said it. So if it was Tiresias or Oedipus who said the word that you'll be choosing, you can put that on. But it's not like you have to do MLA. If you're going to quote it in your 250 word write-up, that will be in MLA format. Is everyone here comfortable with MLA?
How do we do it
Citing?
first? Softly, so.
With the play?
Yeah.
It's a good question. This one, I'll find the actual version that this is taken from because this is a photocopy excerpt. I'll find, because I know who the translators are and everything, so I'll find the actual citation and I'll provide that for you guys. Okay? Yes. Yes, go for it. Be quick because we're going to start reading in a few seconds. Okay? Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, so we're on scene, I believe scene 4. And so we have our pieces of paper. We're going to do that mind dump. Okay, everything you guys remember about your character, about the action of the play from what we read yesterday.
Scene for the last scene.
No, the scene 4 is the last scene. There's what's called an exodus. So that's like the kind of final stage. Okay, so over here we have Tiresias and Jocasta. Jocasta was one who spoke yesterday, so you're trying to think, okay, what was she doing yesterday? What is her state of mind? What's going on with her? Here we have the chorus. So again, what is the chorus thinking? How are they feeling right now? What's going on with them? Oedipus the same. How is his guilt? How is attention developing with him? And Kreon. I suggested to you guys yesterday that perhaps Kreon isn't as great as he might seem. He might be trying to overthrow Oedipus. Remember, when he brought back the oracle's message, he did not say, this is what the oracle said. He said, this is what I remember. This is my interpretation. You guys can actually go to the line and see that he doesn't actually come out with it at the beginning. So, what's Kreon's kind of game here? Okay, so again, 3 minutes. Don't stop writing. Get as much down as you can. And we'll start at the 35 seconds. So 2, 1, begin. So you guys can be as specific as you want. You can say what that person is thinking. You can say what their function is in the larger kind of plot or action of the play. Okay, the first minute is up. Remember guys, these notes are for your own benefit. I won't be reading these, so if you have any brilliant ideas that kind of pop into your head for the essay, you can throw those down too. This just gives you guys 3 minutes to collect your thoughts. Okay, a little bit less than a minute left.
How do you spell Laios? L-A-I-U-S.
Okay, 15 seconds left. Get down everything you can. Five seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we're going to finish the play today. All right. And I think I'll leave discussion until the end of it. We'll just try to get into it. I want us to get through everything. And so let's start to choose some roles. So we're starting at the beginning of scene 4, which is on page 129. So we need an Oedipus, someone who hasn't read so far. Rithik, Oedipus. And that means, Melanie, you will be Oedipus for the final part. So just keep that in mind if you want to look forward and start to memorize your lines. Remember, 1 billion people in India will be watching this video. And if you're discovered, China's already here. Now India's moving in, okay? We're moving eastward across the continent, all right? Yeah, I think it's actually south.
Yeah.
I'm not a geography student. So we're moving south, okay? We're moving all over. Okay, so today we have India watching, okay? So the chorus. Allison, we're going to read the chorus today,
And
all right?
India's down here.
So we need a shepherd and a messenger, so that'll be 2 over
I
here.
thought you were from us.
Be the shepherd. Megan, do you want to be the messenger? Okay. So
You
shepherd.
don't have to continue
and
drawing. I
messenger.
thought he meant from here.
It's actually pretty bad.
Just being a cunt.
Okay, and that's everything.
Pretty bad.
Okay. So let's begin. So who remembers? Who can give us a quick 30-second description of what we had from yesterday? 2 and 3. Ria? Okay, in what sense? So what part of his past is revealed?
Good.
Right. So what was the last thing that happened right before scene 3 ended? We have Oedipus learning that he is not. So Oedipus learns that his father, who he believes his father in Corinth, is dead. Okay. He kind of reacts in an odd way, wouldn't you guys say? I mean,
He's happy.
he's really happy. Jocasta is really happy. And Jocasta actually says something that I pointed to yesterday, but we may have gone over. She's like, oh, okay, so they're all relieved. Okay, so Oedipus isn't this person. Okay, so they all have a few seconds of relief. Then Jocasta kind of lets something out. She's like, don't worry about it. Like, a lot of boys in their dreams dream of killing their father and marrying their mother. It's like, all right, that's kind of odd that she would say that. And she just kind of lets it go. I'll find the line at some other point, but she's like, don't worry, we'll have dreams like that all the time. It's like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a dream like that before that I remember.
I think the killing the father, kind of makes sense because, I feel back then, they're both guys. They were deceitful towards their parents. They were trying to take power from them because they really were eager to them. Later.
It may have happened, but I don't think it was common. I don't know. I think there's actually there are evolutionary reasons why there's an aversion towards killing your father. One of the reasons is because it's the person providing you with protection while you're a little baby, and then of course once you marry and leave, it doesn't really matter anymore. What's that?
Then you can kill him.
Yeah, then you can kill him if you just want to kind of practice. So we have Oedipus. He's a little bit relieved. He's like, okay, so I'm not the one who killed my father and married my mother. And he could, Ashley brought up the point yesterday. It's like there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. Why doesn't he just kind of realize, dude, you're the one who did it? Why doesn't he just put 2 and 2 together and make 4, right? I'm like, well, it's not so, to be honest, I think that he's actually doing something kind of close to that because here he has an out. He has an out, right? Everybody's saying it was multiple people who killed Laius. It was highwaymen, not just one, right? Everybody in the city heard it. So he could just say, okay, yeah, good enough for me, I'm out. But he doesn't say that, and he asks for this second messenger to come, the person who was supposed to have killed Jocasta's baby. He doesn't want to leave any doubt. And this will be the question that we can kind of discuss as we go on, so Oedipus, he's searching for the truth no matter what. It ends up destroying him. Is it a good thing that he did this, or is it a bad thing? Hazel?
I feel like that shows that he's a kind of person who has good motives, but he doesn't really always act upon those.
What do you mean?
He kills people.
Okay, but the question I'm raising is it good that he's pursuing the truth no matter what?
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, because it's not obvious. I mean, some pretty gruesome stuff happens to him at the end, and we'll find out what that stuff is. But he doesn't take the out when he's given the ability to. he's taking this responsibility, right? And so we'll see how that kind of plays out and what we think of it. Okay, so we'll start at scene 4, 129, beginning with Oedipus. So that's Rithik. You can start us off.
Sirs, though I do not know the man, I think I see him coming. The shepherd we want, he is old, like a friend here, and the man brings him steam to be servant of my house. But you can tell if you have ever seen him.
I know him. He was wise, his man. You can trust him.
Tell me first, you from Corinth, is this the shepherd we are discussing?
Messenger.
Come here. No. Look at me. You must answer.
Yes, born a slave, brought up in his house.
Tell me, what kind of work did you do for him?
I was a shepherd of his most of my life.
Where mainly did you go for his pasturage?
Sometimes Caparon, sometimes the hills nearby.
Do you remember ever seeing this man out there?
What would he be doing here? This man?
This man standing here. Have you ever seen him before?
No, at least not to my own collection.
And that is not strange, my lord, but I'll refresh his memory. You must remember we were two who spent 3 full seasons together, March to September, on Kreon, or thereabouts. He had 2 flocks, I had 1. Each autumn I dragged mine home, and he would go back to Laius' sheepfold. Is this not true, just as I have described it?
True, yes, but it was all so long ago.
Well then, do you remember back in those days that you gave me a baby boy to live as my own?
What if I did? What are you trying to say?
King Oedipus was once that little child.
Damn you, hold your tongue.
No more of that. It is your tongue needs watching, not this man's.
My king, my master, what is it I have done wrong?
You have not answered his question about the boy.
He does not know, he's only making trouble.
Come, speak plainly, or it will go hard with you.
In God's name, do not torture an old man.
Come here, one of you. Bind his arms behind him.
Unhappy king, what more do you need for?
Did you give this man a child he speaks of?
I did. And I would to God I had died that very day.
You will die now unless you speak the truth.
Yet if I speak the truth, I am worse than dead.
He intends to draw it out, apparently.
No, I have told you already that I gave him the boy.
Where did you get him? From your house? From somewhere else?
Not from mine, no. A man gave him to me.
Is that man here? Whose house did he belong
For
to?
God's love, my king, do not ask me anymore.
You are a dead man if I have to ask you again.
Then the child is from the place of lies.
A slave child or a child of his own?
I am on the brink of dreadful speech.
And I am on the dreadful hearing, yet I must hear.
If you must be told, then they said it was Liza's child, but it is your wife. Who can tell you about that?
My wife? Did she give it to you?
My lord, she did.
Do you know why?
I was told to get rid of it,
Oh, heartless mother,
but in dread of prophecies.
tell me,
It was said that the boy would kill his own father.
then why did you give him over to this old man?
I pitied the baby, my king, and I thought that this man would take him far away to his own country. He saved him, but for what I failed. For if you are what this man says you are, no man living is more wretched than Oedipus.
Ah, God, it is true. All the prophecies. Now, O light, may I look onto you for the last time. I, Oedipus, damned in his birth, in his marriage, damned in the blood, he shed his own hand.
Alas for the seed of men, what measure shall I give these generations that breed on void and are void, and exist and do not exist? Who bears the more weight of joy, the massive sunlight shifting in images, or who shall make this thought stay on, that down time drifts away? Your splendor is all fallen, O naked brow of wrath and tears, O change of Oedipus. I who saw your days call no man blessed. Your great days like ghosts gone.
Okay, Thomas.
That mind was a strong bow. Deep, how deep you drew it then. Hard archer, at a dim, fearful range, and brought dear glory down. You overcame the stranger, the virgin within her hooking lion club. And though death sang, stood like a tower, to make pale Thebes take heart. Fortress against our sorrow. True king, giver of laws, majestic Oedipus. No prince in Thebes had ever such renown. No prince won such grace of power.
And now all men ever known, most pitiful is the man's story. His fortunes are both changed, his stay fallen to a little slaves. Ground under bitter fate, O Oedipus, most royal one. The greater door that expelled you to the light, gave night to your glory, as to the father's son, fathering son, all understood too late. How could that queen whom Laius won, the garden that he harrowed at his height, be silent when the act was done?
Sarah?
Could all eyes fail before time's eye? All actions come to justice there. Though never willed, though far down the deep past, your bed, your dread sirens are brought to the book at last. Child by Laios, doomed to die, then doomed to lose the fortunate little death. Would God, you never took breath in this air, that with all my wailing's lips I take to cry, that with my for I weep the world outcast. I was blind, and now I can tell why. Asleep for you had given ease of breath to Thebes while the false years went by.
Okay, so what just happened in that scene? Scene 4. Now all we have left is the Exodus. Pat?
So the shepherd came and told the truth about how Jocasta gave him a baby, and that baby was supposed to be King Oedipus, and how he was supposed to kill his own father and marry his own mother. So he was told to kill the baby, but he felt pity, so he gave it away to the messenger, expecting the messenger to take it away to a far country, and he did, and then
This all kind of happened. So, to the connecting the dots idea, the dots are now all connected. Okay, there's nowhere for him to run. He has killed his father. He has married his mother. He has had children with her.
That's so dirty.
That's so dirty indeed. So I was reading. So this is for the justice group. So the question now, after we read the final point, is whether what happens to Oedipus is just or not. But I want to, before we read the Exodus, before we see what happens finally, I want to get a quick reminder. So I asked you guys last week, what would you guys do if you were in Oedipus's position? You can actually get your head around it. So so let's try to do like a serious thing. There are serious answers. So who here would kill themselves if they were in Oedipus's position? Let's see a big show of hands. So you have just killed your father. You have just married your mother, had children with them. Everybody knows it now. Okay, so that's the only way out. So the people who didn't put up your hand, what are some other options? So Ida, what would you do? If you can think about it, be creative.
Well, I wouldn't be that harsh on myself because I didn't know intentionally.
Okay, so he's unwitting. So it's like, hey, I may have done these things, but I didn't know. So there's not that much. I can't really be that hard on myself. Okay, fair enough. Melanie?
I run away.
Run away? Okay.
I kill myself, but like an easy death, not what Oedipus does, but an easy death.
Okay.
Painless.
I'd pray for forgiveness and then like kill myself.
First pray. So we're all ended up in the same place, but there's just little different steps to get there. Okay. You didn't put your hand up for kill yourself, right?
Oh, I put my hand up.
For kill yourself. Okay, so we have Ida who said, I let myself off the hook. It was unwitting. We have Melanie who said I'd run away. And so is anybody else here not ending up in the grave? Is everybody else choosing that?
Yeah, but like, I'd kill Jocasta too.
Okay, just take it just for good measure,
Why?
right?
Bro, she's like ditched her own baby like that, and then I turned out to be the baby, so just slice that, and then I off myself.
I don't trust Keenan at all.
Or you can just go crazy and kill everybody. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so now we're going to see what Oedipus actually does, and we're going to talk about what that might mean. Okay, so Melanie, you're going to be Oedipus.
Yeah, they probably
We need a Kreon here. No, you guys aren't in the Kreon. We need a Kreon here. Sarah, you haven't read yet, I don't think, right? Oh, but you're going to be Kreon. Oh, I don't know. I just can't say it. Chorus. Thomas, how would you be our chorus?
Tomas.
And do we have others?
Oedipus.
Yes, we have other messengers.
Oedipus.
Second messenger.
You're a pussy dog.
I think there's only second messenger. There's no more regular messenger.
Eat a pussy.
I don't think so. So yeah, so you're off. All right, Tatiana, second messenger. Okay.
Sir, are his kids like messed up? Because
Oh, we'll talk about the kids. Okay, so Tatiana's second messenger. Thomas is Chorus. Melanie is Oedipus, and Sarah is Kreon. We are starting at Exodus. Okay, Exodus. Anybody recognize that word?
Yeah, it's from
Here's
the
another
Bible.
famous document, the Bible. It means exit. So this is the final scene when the chorus is exiting the play, and the play is going to come to an end. Okay, so enter from the palace. Second messenger. Tatiana, page 132.
Elders of Thebes, most honored in this land, what horrors are these? A sorrow to be here, give truth to your birth, you narrate the line of
Labdicos.
I think neither Istros nor those
Phases.
great rivers could purify this place of all evil. It shelters now, or soon must bring to light. Evil not done unconsciously but willed. The greatest griefs are those we cause ourselves.
Surely, friend, we have grief enough already. What new sorrow do you mean?
The queen is dead.
O miserable queen, but at whose hand?
The full horror of what happened you cannot.
No, just let's skip that.
her own.
Her own. Her own. Okay, now the full horror of what happened.
The full horror of what happened you cannot know, for you did not see it. But I, who did, will tell you as clearly as I can how she met her death. When she had left us in passionate silence, passing through the court, she ran to her apartment in the house, her hair clutched by her fingers of both hands. She closed the door behind her. Then, by that bed, where long ago the fatal son was conceived, that son who should bring about his father's death. We heard her call upon Laios, dead so many years, and heard her wail for the double fruit of her marriage. A husband by her husband, children by her child. Exactly how she died, I do not know. For Oedipus burst in moaning and would not let us keep vigil to the end. It was by him, as he stormed about the room, that our eyes were caught. From one to another of us he went, begging a sword, hunting the wife who was not his wife, the mother, whose womb that carried his own children and himself. I do not know. It was none of us aided him, but surely one of the gods was in control. For with a dreadful cry he hurled his blade as though wrenched out of himself. As at the twin doors the bolts gave, and he rushed in. And there we saw her hanging, her body swaying from a cruel cord she had noosed about her neck. A great sob broke from him, heartbreaking to hear, as he loosed the rope and lowered her to the ground.
Okay, hold up for a second. Okay, so let's just make sure we're clear about what just happened. So, Jocasta, the queen, she hears this. She knows that Oedipus is who everybody feared that he would be, and she does what?
She
kills herself. She hangs herself. So, what was Oedipus doing this whole time?
He was going to go kill her.
I think that we might want to look into, were you a baby that was
Oh
left
my
on a
goodness.
mountain? Because you have some of the same intuitions here. So Oedipus, he was looking for a sword. Right? He was begging everybody for a sword. He was going to kill Jocasta, and then probably kill himself or do something to himself. But they find that Jocasta, she's already killed herself. She's already hung herself. Yep, she did.
She's swaying back and forth.
Okay, Tatiana, do you want to continue?
I was well out from my mind what happened next, for the king ripped from her crown the golden brooches.
So brooches, everybody so knows, they're pins. So a brooch, like a very fancy dress, you'll put like a brooch into your dress or into your hat or something. So it's a long pin. Okay.
That were her ornament, and raised them and pushed them down straight into his own eyeballs,
Oh.
screamed, crying, "No more shall you look upon the misery about me, the horrors of my own doing. Too long you have known those faces whom I should never have seen. Too long to be
too long been blind to those for whom I was searching. For this hour, go in darkness. As he spoke, he struck at his eyes, not once, but many times. And the blood spattered his beard, bursting from his ruined sockets like red hail. So from the unhappiness of two, this evil has brought a curse on a man and a woman alone. The old happiness in the house of
Lapticus.
Lapticus was happiness enough where it is today. Is it all wailing and ruin, disgrace, death, all the misery of mankind that has a name? And is it Wally and for theirs,
It's
or
Wally.
never theirs?
Okay, so let's just take a quick step back. So, what does Oedipus do?
Stabs his own eyes.
He takes long golden, I'm not sure if in this translation it says, they're long golden brooches, long golden pins, and he stabs his eyes. Does he do it once?
Multiple times.
Multiple times, takes the pins into his eyes a bunch of times, saying, you have seen things you should never have seen. You should never, like talking about himself, I should never have been born. I shall never look upon the world again. So when I was coming around and you guys were all trying to choose what book to do for our CPT, and some of you guys were trying to be strategic and see, well, okay, I got to think about comparisons I can make for my exam. And I was saying, kind of giving you guys a hint, it's like if you guys leave King Lear to the exam, I promise you there will be a comparison between Lear and Oedipus. Now we can all see, now I have pulled the wool from your guys' eyes. I was like Tiresias, I was giving you the prophecy. And there it is. We have two plays in which eyes are ripped, and the theme of the eye thing is actually quite similar. So who remembers who gets his eyes ripped out in King Lear? Gloucester. So they're blind, but now they see.
They see. No, he sees when he's finally blind.
Right before he starts it up.
So we seem to be exchanging a bunch of similar words here: blind, see, eyes. That's interesting that we keep using the same word. It's almost like that word is important.
That one word.
That one word. See, blind, eyes, right? All right? Okay, so keep that in mind. So, okay, but the other thing I want to draw your guys' attention to is what does Oedipus do when he finds this out? Does he kill himself? No, he doesn't kill himself. He tortures himself. We'll talk about why, like, what I'm kind of pointing at there. So let's finish off the play. So chorus, Thomas.
Is he an egg in the still? Is there no rest for him?
He is calling for someone to open the doors wide, so that all the children of Cadmos may look upon him. His father's murderer, his mother's no, I cannot say it. And then he will leave thee, self-exiled, in order that the curse which he himself pronounced, may depart from the house. He is weak, and there is none to lead him. So terrible is his suffering, but you will see. Look at the doors opening. In a moment you will see a thing that would crush a heart of stone.
So the doors open. Oedipus is blinded, is let in.
Dreadful indeed for men to see. Never have my own eyes looked on a sight so full of fear. Oedipus, what madness came upon you? What demon leaped on your life with heavier punishment than a mortal man can bear? No, I cannot even look at you, poor ruined one. And I would speak, question, ponder, if I were able. No, you make me shudder.
God, if there's is there a sorrow greater? Where shall I find harbor in this world? My voice is hurled far in the dark wind. What has God done to me?
Too terrible to think of or to see.
O cloud of night, never to be turned away, night coming on. I cannot tell how, night like a shroud. My fair winds brought me here, O God, again. The pain of the spikes where I had sight, the flooding pain of memory, never to be gouged out.
This is not strange. You suffer it all twice over. Remorse and pain, pain and remorse.
Ah, dear friend, are you faithful even yet? You alone? Are you still standing near me? Will you stay here, patient to care for the blind man, yet even blind I know who it is attends me. By the voice's tone, though my new darkness hide the comforter.
O fearful act, what God was it drove you to wreak blood? Night across your eyes.
Apollo, Apollo. Dear children, the god was Apollo. He brought my sick fate upon me, but the blinding hand was my own. How could I bear to see when all my sight was horror everywhere?
Everywhere. That is true.
And now what is left? Images? Love? A greeting even? Sweet to the senses? Is there anything? Ah, no, friends. Lead me away from Thebes. Leave the great wreck and hell of Oedipus, whom the gods hate.
Your misery, you are not blind to that. When God you had never found it out.
Death, take the man who unbound my feet on the hillside and delivered me from death to life. What life? If only I had died, this weight of monstrous doom could have not dragged me into the garden.
I would have wished the same.
Oh, never to have come here with my father's blood upon me. Never to have seen the man they call his mother's husband. Oh, a curse. Oh, child of evil. To have entered that wretched bed, his self-same one, more primal than sin itself. This fell to me.
I do not know what words to offer you. You were better dead than alive and blind.
Do not counsel me any more. This punishment that I have laid upon myself is just. If I had eyes, I do not know how I could bear the sight of my father. When I came to the house of death, my mother, for I have sinned against the book, so vilely that I could not make my peace by strangling my own life. Or do you think my children, born as they were born, would be sweet to my eyes? Ah, never, never. Nor this town with its high walls, nor the holy images of the gods. For I, thrice miserable, Oedipus, noblest of all the line of Cadmus, have condemned myself to enjoy these things no more. By my own malediction, expelling that man whom the gods declared to be a defilement in the house of Laios, after exposing the rankness of my own guilt. How could I look men frankly in the eyes? No, I swear it. If I could have stifled my hearing at its source, I would have done it and made all this body a tight cell of misery, blank to light and sound. So I should have been safe in my dark mind beyond external evil. Ah, Thyself, why did you shelter me? When I was cast upon you, why did I not die? Then I should never have shown the world my execrable birth. Ah, Polybus, Corinth, city that I believe the ancient seat of my ancestors. How fair I seemed, your child, and all the while this evil was cancerous within me. For I am sick, in my own beginning, sick in my origin. Oh, three roads, dark ravine, woodland and way, where three roads meet, you drank my father's blood, my own blood, spilled by my own hand. Can you remember the unspeakable things I did there, and the things I went on from there to do? Oh, marriage, marriage, the act that engendered me, and again the act performed by the son in the same bed. Ah, the net of incest, mingling fathers, brothers, sons, with brides, wives, mothers, the last evil that can be known by men. No tongue can say how evil. No, for the love of God, conceal me somewhere far from Thebes, or kill me, or throw me into the sea, away from my men's eyes forever. Come, leave me. You need no fear to touch me. Of all men, I alone can bear this guilt.
Kreon is here now. As to what you ask, he may decide the course to take. He only is left to protect the city in your place.
Alas, how can I speak to him? What right have I to beg his courtesy, whom I have deeply wronged?
I have not come back to mock you, Oedipus, or to reproach you either. You standing there. If you have lost all respect for man's dignity, at least respect the flame of Lord Hellas. Do not allow this pollution to show itself openly here and in front to the earth, and heaven's reign in the light of day. No, take him into the house as quickly as you can, for it is proper that only the close kindred see his grief.
I pray you in God's name, since your courtesy ignores my dark expectation, visiting with me. This man of all men, most execrable, give me what I ask, for your good, not for mine.
And what is that you turn to me begging for?
Drive me out of this country as quickly as may be, to a place where no human voice can ever greet me.
I should have done that before now. Only gods will have not been wholly revealed.
But his command is plain. The parasite must be destroyed. I'm the evil man.
That is the sense of it, yes. But as things are, we have best discovered clearly what is to be done.
You would learn more about men like me.
You are ready now to listen to the gods.
I will listen. But it is to you that I must turn for help. I beg you, hear me. The woman is there. Give her whatever funeral you think proper. She is your sister, but let me go, Kreon. Let me purge my father's Thebes of the pollution of my living here, and go out to the wild hills, to Kithaeron, where that has won such fame with me. The tomb my mother and father appointed for me, and let me die there. As they willed, I should. And yet I know death will not ever come to me through sickness or in a natural way. I've been preserved for some unthinkable fate, but let that be. As for my sons, you need not care for them. They are men, they will find some way to live. But my poor daughters, who have shared my table, who never before have been parted from their father, take care of them, Kreon. Do this for me. And will you let me touch them with my hands a last time, and let us weep together? Be kind, my lord, great prince, be kind. Could I but touch them, they would be mine again, as when I had my eyes. Ah, God, it is my dearest children I hear weeping. Has Kreon pitied me and sent my daughters?
Yes, Oedipus, I knew that they were dear to you in the old days, and know you must love them still.
May God bless you for this, and be a friendlier guardian to you than he has been to me. Children, where are you? Come quickly to my hands. They are your brothers. Hands that have brought fathers once clear eyes to this way of seeing. Ah, dearest ones, I had neither sight nor knowledge then. Your father, by the woman who was the source of his own life, and I weep for you, having no strength to see you. I weep for you when I think of the bitterness that men will visit upon you all your lives. What homes, what festivals can you attend without being forced to depart again in tears? And when you come to the marriageable age, where is the man, my daughters, who would dare risk the bane that lies on all my children? Is there any evil wanting? Your father killed his father, sowed the womb of her who bore him, engendered you at the fount of his own existence. That is what they will say of you. Then whom can you ever marry? There are no bridegrooms, and your lives must wither away in sterile dreaming. O Kreon, son of
Menoikeus.
You're the only father my daughters have, since we, their parents, are both of us gone forever. They are your own blood. You will not let them fall into beggary and loneliness. You will keep them from the miseries that are mine. Take pity on them. See they are only children, friendless except for you. Promise me this, great prince, and give me your hand in token of it.
Keep going. So Kreon puts Oedipus's daughter's hands in Oedipus' hands. Again, he can't see, so he's dependent on Kreon. So he's saying here, so let's just take a quick debrief, give you a couple of chances to catch your breath here. Okay, so Oedipus has blinded himself. Everybody knows what's going on. Kreon comes to the scene, and Kreon is being kind of friendly, but kind of cold too. So what does Oedipus ask Kreon to do for him?
Take care of his daughters.
Take care of his daughters before that, though.
Exile.
Exile. He's like, Kreon, please. It's like, I've taken the responsibility. I've stabbed my eyes out. All I ask from you now is that you send me away so that the plague can be lifted. What does Kreon say, though?
Like hear the gods, what the gods have to say now.
Yeah, so Kreon's like, first of all, he's like, you don't control things anymore. Okay, so first get that out of your tone of voice. You don't control things anymore. I'm in control now. And I say we're going to wait for the gods to tell us what they think we should do with you. Okay, so Oedipus, right to the end, he's trying to take responsibility. He's trying to still take control of things. But Kreon's like, no, we're going to listen to what the gods have to say. So that's why I paired Kreon with Justice over here. So Kreon's very by the book. And we'll talk about whether what happens to Oedipus is just or not. But that's kind of the vibe we're getting. But he's not being unkind. He brings in his daughters, Antigone and Ismene. And Oedipus is like, let's try to really feel what's going on right now. Not only is Oedipus screwed completely, right? But he's also destroyed the lives of his children.
Siblings.
And, aka his siblings, right?
Ew.
So it's not that he's just destroyed his own life. And it's not that he's just responsible for everybody in his kingdom dying from this plague. Because remember, that's also the case, that it's actually him who's responsible. But now his children's lives are also destroyed. So if you want, I mean, the reason that this is considered the greatest tragedy of all time is because there's no more thorough way to completely destroy somebody. His life, his identity, his city, his family, his reputation. I don't think that we can actually really find an equivalent today in today's world. I really don't think that, like I was thinking about the analogy, remember, that I was trying to develop about the scientist. I'm not creative enough, I'm not Sophocles, to think of a way you could really, in one kind of hit, destroy, like, there's nothing left for him. There's really nothing. He can't even see. He can't even rely on himself to walk, 10 feet in front of him. And so he's being thoroughly destroyed. We go from where he was before and to where he is now, right? Because like you hear about, people, they lose their fortune, maybe they're caught in a scheme and they go to prison. Okay, so like that's, I think, the closest we could get, because prison's no joke, right? I don't think that we really have a similar way to gauge it in today's society. I'm pretty sure you could be creative and think of other ways, but that's what we were trying to think here, is that you have somebody who was on top of the world, a great guy, not an evil person, a great guy, but is brought this low, okay? So now he's like, listen, this is the last time I'm going to see my daughters, or last time I'm going to talk to my daughters, hear their voices. So he's like, Kreon, just put their hands in mine so that I can give them a good kind of farewell message before I'm gone forever. Okay, so Kreon clasps his right hand. So now Oedipus is speaking to children. So Melanie, do you want to continue? Right at the bottom of the page there.
I could say much, if you could understand me, but as it is, I have only this prayer for you. Live where you can, be as happy as you can, happy, please God, and God has made you provident.
Enough. You have wept enough. Now go within.
I must, but it is hard.
Time ease all things.
You know my mind then.
Say what you desire.
Send me from Thebes.
God grant that I may.
But since God hates me,
No, he will grant your wish.
you promise?
I cannot speak beyond my knowledge.
Then lead me in.
Come now, and leave your children.
No, do not take them from me.
Think no longer that you are in command here, but rather think how where you were, you served your own destruction.
That's pretty brutal. Like before, like there's one more line, but like that's pretty heartless, man. That's pretty cold. So he's just like, Oedipus, like, don't take my kids from me just yet. Kreon says, he doesn't say okay. He doesn't say, I have to. He says, think no longer that you're in command here, but rather think how, when you were in command, you served your own destruction. Man, like this is okay. Let's just try to do a quick. What is Oedipus to Kreon then? So Kreon is Jocasta. So that's his nephew. So it used to be his. So yeah. So Oedipus is Kreon's nephew then, right? So Kreon is the uncle, right? So he's the uncle / brother-in-law. I'm getting kind of crazy here, all right? Okay. Chorus. Thomas, take us home, man, with lots of passion and emotion here. This is the last lines of the play.
Men of Thebes, look upon Oedipus. This is the king who solved the famous riddle and towered up, most powerful men. No mortal eyes but looked on him with envy. Yet in the end, ruin swept over him. Let every man in mankind's frailty consider his last day, and let none presume on his good fortune until he find life at his death, a memory without pain.
There you go. So that's the story of Oedipus. Yes, that's the
I think it was too harsh.
Okay, so first reactions, 1-2 word reactions. What are we thinking? Jeremy. Interesting. Ida. Brutal. Too harsh. Megan. Brutal. Rhea.
Deaf.
Don't?
Deaf.
Oh, deaf. Sarah. To the whole play, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Interesting.
Interesting. No more interesting, no more brutal.
Oh,
You already said one.
deadly.
Rivoli.
Deadly.
Deadly. Tatiana. Odd.
Surprised?
Surprised. Thomas?
Yeah, surprised.
Okay, no more surprise. Calvin? Incestuous. Ooh, interesting. Rithik.
Twisted.
Bellamy.
You.
You? Keenan?
Madness.
Madness.
Tragic.
This is madness. This is Thebes. 301.
Tragic.
Tragic. Jacob. No more interesting. You gotta think of another one.
Book T.
What's that? Okay, no more brutal either. Frank. Shocking. Sarah?
Different.
Different. Like interesting, but different. Different. Zaika?
Gross.
Gross. And Ashley?
Weird.
Weird. Okay, so that's Oedipus. He's so I mean none of that sounded good. It's all pretty rough. So okay, so now we finished the play. We see what happens to Oedipus, we see what he does to himself. A lot of directions we can take this. The direction I think I want to take it with you guys is to start off by asking, is life fair or unfair?
Unfair.
Unfair.
Definitely unfair.
Definitely unfair. No, we're not talking about Oedipus' life now, we're just thinking of our own life. Is life fair or is it not fair?
Definitely
There's
unfair.
a measure to fair.
Okay, fair enough, okay.
Life's
So
never fair.
life's not fair, fair enough. So one of the things that you guys can think about is that, so Oedipus blames Apollo for this prophecy. We have to adjust our thinking a little bit though, about what they mean when they say gods, and what we might think. Because we're thinking, Apollo's a real asshole. He did, like, why does he do this to this guy? You know, out of nowhere, right? The ancient Greeks saw it a little bit differently. The way they think about gods is not so much as somebody, so Aristotle was said to have said it'd be weird if somebody ever said that they loved the gods, they loved Zeus. That's not really how they thought about it. The gods for the ancient Greeks are just the way that the world is. So it's like there's light, that's the way that it is. Apollo is responsible for it. That's just the way that it is. You don't love Apollo, like do you guys, we still say this, but do we love the fact there's snow out right now?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not, we might hate it, but that's just the way that it is. We're not going to go out there and like stand up at the sky and start screaming, even though, as I understand it, there was a group of people who did that to protest Trump becoming president, which I think is a bit bizarre that they would stand and scream at the sky for that. But we wouldn't go out there and scream at the sky because it's snowing right now. And so that's how we have to think about the gods in Oedipus. So life's not fair. We all know that. And so Oedipus has a choice. Okay? Life's not fair. What happened to Oedipus, does anybody here think what happened to Oedipus is fair? No, I don't think so either. He did it all unwittingly, right? That's the big idea. It's not fair. Life's not fair, right? I'm going bald. That's not fair. God help me, you know? That's not fair, but what can I do? Not doing the Rogaine thing, man. That stuff doesn't work. So, what's that? Hair restoration? To be honest, I don't have the time or patience. So, the question is, so life's not fair. We know that. Oedipus knows that. There's nothing he can do about the situation that has just happened to him. Now, this is where the free will group start to think about this. He didn't get to choose the fact that this was his fate. But what is the one thing that Oedipus did choose to do right at the end of the play?
Take his eyes out and he wanted to kill Jocasta.
Exile.
And exile
Exile.
himself.
So he brings that punishment upon himself. This is really interesting. So he takes responsibility, even though life's not fair. It's not fair that what happened to him. He was such a great person, and he was brought so low. Now, it's interesting that a lot of the responses were, just kill yourself. So there's a French philosopher, and I don't think it's an unreasonable response, to be honest. There's a French philosopher named Albert Camus. He lived in the 1900s, the last century. And he was actually very much interested in this question. He said that there's only one important question in all philosophy that you have to answer, and that's whether or not you should kill yourself. It's like, okay, fair enough. Should I even get up in the morning? And it's not like this question has gone away. There's actually a very recent book by a philosopher from South Africa. It's called Better Never to Have Been. And basically what he says in the book is life is so terrible, it's immoral, it's unethical to bring new children into the world. That's pretty serious, man. Now, I will say this, that I listened to an interview with him where he went through his thesis very thoroughly, and I guess I'm relieved to see that he made a few weird assumptions, so his final kind of product I can safely say I don't agree with. But it's not like I can't.
Ms. Pinto, please contact the main office immediately. Ms. Pinto, please contact the main office.
So these questions aren't going away. So Albert Camus said, life is pretty rough. And he brought in another myth, and I'll tell you guys this myth really quickly. It's a myth of Sisyphus. Does anybody know what that myth is?
No.
Sisyphus?
Sounds like his brother.
Maybe I don't know. You know, it's close. So
Oedipus,
Sisyphus. So it's ancient Greek myth. Okay. Sisyphus, really intelligent person. He thinks he's smarter than the gods, so the gods give him a really nice, ironic punishment. They send him to the underworld, and for the rest of eternity, he has to push this giant boulder up a hill. Okay. The boulder, it takes all of his strength, nearly half kills him, but he has to push up the hill. Okay. So he pushes it to the top, and can anybody kind of fill in the rest? It's a nice, ironic Greek punishment. It rolls right back down. He has to stop, take a breath, go right back down to the bottom, and roll the boulder up the hill all over again for the rest of eternity.
Well, I thought it rolled on him.
No. That would at least let him rest, right? No. For the rest of eternity.
That's life, no?
That's what Camus said.
So
He's like, what?
no, I was asking. So you do that for like 100 years straight.
Oh, I'm saying that that's life.
No, so it's supposed to be a metaphor for life. Is that so? Albert Camus, he was what's called an existentialist, although he would have a problem with that term. He was what's called an absurdist, but those terms don't matter. Basically, what he's saying is like, listen, if you realize that life is really pointless, suffering, if you kill yourself, you haven't solved the question. He called that an escape or a circumvention. It's a philosophical suicide. You haven't answered your question. You just refused answering it. He said you have to find that Sisyphus is happy at some point there. There has to be some meaning. You can't get away from the question. You have to try to take some kind of responsibility to answer it. So when we're thinking about is Oedipus a hero or not, I'll kind of tip my hand here. I think he's a hero for two reasons. I do think so. Now, believe me, there's a bunch of essays in this book and other books that would very much disagree with me by scholars who are more intelligent than I am. However, I think that the reason that Oedipus, now, you don't ever have to read the words again, because I know that it's like, okay, can't we just get the gist of the story? There are benefits to going through the words, but if we just remember the actual story. Unfair. Life is unfair. Oedipus is thoroughly destroyed, and he had absolutely no culpability. He wasn't guilty. He's not a guilty person, right? But he's faced with the facts of life, which are, this is the situation that I find myself in. What do I do? First of all, how did he get there? He was seeking the truth, and every single person in his life was telling him to stop. Tiresias didn't want to tell him the truth, and Oedipus was like, he pushed him so far that he was going to accuse Tiresias of being the one who killed Laius, right? It wouldn't stop there. Jocasta kept saying, Oedipus, stop. I don't want to tell you anymore. Stop. Push through there. This servant, at the end, Oedipus was going to have him tortured because he wasn't giving him the answers. At every point, there was more, and we all know where he was going towards, right? He could have taken that out, but he pursued the truth nonetheless. Does that make him heroic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though it's where he ended up?
Yes, because he pursues the truth regardless of the outcome and still takes responsibility for the outcome even though it wasn't his fault.
It's like he took a sacrifice for the greater good.
Yeah, so the democracy group. So here's where we'll get into kind of an idea about why is it that Oedipus is connected with the wealth of the people. So we know that if Justin Trudeau gets a cold, nobody else in Canada is going to get sick because of it, right? Okay, fair enough. But there's a metaphorical meaning here. Is it important that the people in charge are good people, or is that not important? What do we think? Let's take a serious, okay, so back in the day, there was this whole question about Bill Clinton. You have these accusations about him. Should he resign? You have that today with politicians. It doesn't change. There are really two sides to this. There's the one side that says, listen, all they have to do is know how to vote the way that I like or make the policies I like. I don't care what they do in their personal lives. We're not voting for the Pope here. Okay. There are the other people who say, no, it is important that the people we have in office, the people we elect to power, are decent, moral people. Let's get a show of hands. There's no judgment here because there are really two sides to this. Who thinks we're not voting for the Pope, we're not looking at their personal lives, is it just important that they give good policy? Okay, good. Okay. So will I assume, let's get a show of hands. Who says no? There has to be a basic moral standard for people if we're going to have office. And let me ask you.
Vote for this one.
Oh, you want to vote for that one? Okay, now let me throw it because that seems to be the more popular opinion.
Were you saying that it matters that they're a good person?
Yeah. So it matters that they're not a rapist if they want to be president.
It's good that they're a good person.
So you're saying that was the side that you're on. That's that second side. It matters that they're a good person.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say you have somebody who's in your political party. Now, I'm not going to assume that anybody here is partisan yet. I'm not sure if anybody here is actually old enough to vote yet. They turn out to be a bad person. Would you vote for somebody in the other party because that person in your party was bad? So you have a choice here. The people in Alabama had a choice a couple of days ago. If you were a Republican, the man that you would have voted into office was credibly accused of molesting children.
Yeah.
However, they also said that the other person on the side, Doug Jones, the Democrat, I'm taking the Republican stance here. I'm not giving my own opinion on this. He's pretty extreme in their view on abortion. So it's like I have a child molester on this side who's in my party. I have a guy who's from the other party that is going to be another vote in favor of abortion. What a question, I wonder what people would say. It turned out that the Republicans stayed home. He got Roy Moore, the one accused of molesting, didn't get the votes. And Doug Jones is now the senator from Alabama.
Good.
Alabama is a very conservative state. They haven't had a Democrat or liberal senator in I think probably more than 50 years. Ruby red Alabama. They've always been red. I don't know. I throw it to you guys.
Yeah, he's a child molester.
Does it matter?
Yes.
It does. Okay. What do you think, Adam?
I think when it comes to politics, someone told me this before, like all politicians are evil. You have to pick the least evil.
The lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody here has seen the movie The Godfather?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's only business.
Yeah.
It's just business. That's a perspective. It is a perspective, right? I would only point out that actually, I won't point that out. I'll leave my own views on this.
No, point it out.
I'm not pointing anything out. We're not pointing anywhere. I leave it to you guys to develop.
I also feel like the person himself doesn't really matter. Like I personally hate Trump. I don't think he's any good to be a human. I don't know why. But to be honest, America's actually progressing. I don't know how it's possible, but they're actually doing good right now.
Okay, it's interesting. So, the ancient Greeks had a very definite line on this, however. Okay? The line that the ancient Greeks took was that the goodness of the ruler is directly involved with the goodness of the state. Oedipus is burdened with this sin, and so there's a plague going on. So if we take the example, let's say, of New Orleans, we all know there was that hurricane, the flood in New Orleans, right? The dams and the dikes in New Orleans were supposed to be built to withstand, I believe, the strongest storm in 10,000 years. That's how they do it in countries in Europe, 10,000 years. It turns out they were only built to withstand the storms that could last, or the worst storm in 100 years. So the worst storm in 100 years comes by, destroys the dams, and everybody's asking, well, where's the money for the dams? People are dead now. People are dead. They've drowned to death. That's not a pleasant way to go. What happened? It's a very corrupt state. So if you say that their personality doesn't matter, you have a defense on your side. But we can see that these ancient myths that say no, the goodness of the ruler is directly tied to the health and goodness of the state. We can see echoes of that today. It doesn't go away. So we have about 7 minutes left. So the first thing
Sorry, you said that the goodness of the ruler reflects your state, right? Oedipus, he wasn't bad.
He was, from their perspective, he has this sin. He killed his father and married his mother. That's enough.
Yeah, but no one actually, he figured it out.
So would you say that it's not just what happened to Oedipus?
He murdered 4 people.
Okay. I remember that.
Okay, there are people who write that what happens to Oedipus is not justice. It is not the right thing that should have happened.
Yeah, he is a murderer.
He is a murderer. He's got a kind of a temper too.
The Bhakti.
So the first thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about with whether or not Oedipus is a hero is that he pursues truth no matter what. And that's something that you guys are going to face forever. You're never going to, like I said before, like I've said a billion times already,
Yeah.
you guys are never going to have the option. You guys are never going to have the option to not know what you think on a topic. You guys are going to think something. It's up to you whether or not you're the one who's responsible for what you think or whether somebody else is. That's the choice you guys get. So I mean, kind of like Oedipus had a choice about what he's going to do. The fact of the matter is, you guys are going to have to make choices in your life. Either you guys can be responsible, or you can fob that responsibility onto somebody else who's more than willing to take it. So that's the final thing I'd like to say about Oedipus's heroism, is that he takes the responsibility, even though it's not just, even though life's not fair, he takes the responsibility on himself. He stabs out his eyes. He exiles himself. He does everything in public too. It's not like, I mean, he could have hid this. He could have kept it all, in the family, I think he's kept enough in the family, if you know what I'm saying. But it was easy. It was like low-hanging fruit. But he takes responsibility. Now, I'm not asking you guys to maybe follow everything Oedipus did. But I mean, I gave you guys, it was a sarcastic homework assignment last night to find things in your life that you weren't facing and try to face up to them. But you guys are going to face this, no matter what. I mean, in relationships. The relationship isn't working out. Okay? Like this, let's give a real solid example. Your relationship isn't working out the way it should be. Right? Are you going to take the responsibility to find out why, even if the reason might be here? I mean, I know a lot of people in relationships, and that's not common. That's highly uncommon that people are willing to do that. It's much easier to just break up and then make the same mistake 20 more times. Right? And, even with homework assignments, like I said yesterday, if you guys go to university and things aren't working out, it's easy to blame the prof. I had lots of friends when I was taking physics. When I took differential equations, the prof had a very thick Chinese accent. Nobody could understand him. And so everybody's like, oh, I'm doing so bad in the class, it's all because of the professor. It's like, okay, fine, you can say that. Oedipus, hey, it's not me, it's Apollo who did this to me. That's the state of things. Your choice isn't to dictate how things are, okay? Your choice, the only choice you have, it's a small but powerful choice, is Stoicism, from the philosophy that you were talking about. It's how you react to the vast unfairness and suffering that is all around you all the time. Are you going to be like Oedipus and take responsibility, or are you not going to? So there are people who say that Oedipus at the end is actually triumphant. He's not a tragic hero. He's not. So here's a cool kind of tidbit. It's not talked about here. So the oracle at Delphi, that's Apollo's oracle, right? If you guys have seen the videos I post online, I've titled this section, Know Thyself. So in Delphi, where the oracle is, there's an inscription on the top of the temple that says in Greek, Know Thyself. So I think it's very appropriate for this play. Oedipus doesn't know who his parents are. He doesn't know where he's from. He doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know what he's done. He doesn't know himself. By the end, he does know himself, right? We have to think, is knowing the truth, knowing yourself, taking responsibility? Nobody can argue that Oedipus is in a good position. He's not rewarded for doing any of these things. So can we say that it's virtuous to do them nonetheless? We might all say, oh, yes, of course, if it were me, I would totally know myself and do all this. Guys, look where Oedipus is. People aren't willing to take responsibility for a bad grade, let alone destroying literally every aspect of their life to know the truth and to take responsibility. This isn't an easy, obvious answer. And you guys are going to have to pursue it for the rest of your lives. So, don't study English, but keep it with you. I read this play. I'd never read it before until I came here a few months ago to start teaching you guys. And I can see why, more than 2,000 years later, it's still being taught and why it's still important to think about. Because these problems aren't going away. And every day when you wake up, you have the choice. Am I going to take responsibility today? Am I going to seek the truth? Or am I not going to? And with that, today's class is done. If you guys have any questions, go for it. If not, I'm trying to get ready to go. Save that for last day. So I am coming back next week. I'm only coming back for you guys because I love you so dearly. I'll be coming back for one more week. So like I said, on Monday, we're going to start the assignment. I'm going to walk you guys through it. Don't stress about it. There's going to be lots of examples. You'll be good to go. Monday will be the introduction to the assignment. Tuesday, you guys are at Maths. Wednesday, you start doing your rough copy. Again, it's 250 words, 1 page. If you can finish it on Wednesday, good for you. If not, you still have Thursday to do it. And then it's due on Friday. So get me a hard copy for Friday, one way or the other.
Hard copy poster and hard copy
And written up, yeah. And I'll be here on Friday if any of you guys want to come in. It'll be an informal class. You can ask questions about anything, and I'll do my best to answer.